think we're good. All right, so you wanted to talk about God?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about God?
1 second. So let's start with background. Well, 1 second. I gotta change this.
Is it too loud?
No, I just don't like the headphone thing.
Oh yeah, no.
All right. Yeah. So where's your background? Do you raise religious?
No, I was raised like atheist as fuck. I rebelled kind of by getting into God. My dad still like hates the idea of God.
Yeah.
I went to I think Sunday school like twice when I was a kid, just because like my actually whole family is like on my mom's side is super religious. My grandma was just like always in the United Church. She was just like, do you know the United Church?
Yeah, it's a good church.
Yeah, it's
that's
like
a small town church.
Yeah, it's like the church of what like Christians should be, where they're like super gay and trans, and they just like my grandma was like such a good Christian woman, just loved everyone, just spent so much time doing like volunteer and charity work. And then my one aunt is a reverend or priest or something, I don't know what the title in the United Church, and then my other aunt is like a doctorate of philosophy, and so she worked like high up in the organization of the United Church. And then
so your dad was just like, fuck that.
Yeah, I think my dad's parents, my grandparents on my dad's side were vaguely religious. I think they went to church a bit, but not really when he was growing up. And so, it was just like I just never had any church growing up.
Yeah.
So
this is your mom's side with all the
my mom's side did all that, and I think my mom probably would have gone to church, but then my grandpa was atheist as fuck, so my mom's dad. Yeah. And so it was never like a big thing. My grandma was just like a good person.
Yeah. When you say atheist as fuck, you mean like they're like anti-God?
No, he wasn't anti-God. He just really didn't believe in it, and it made things really difficult at the end of his life because he was so scared of dying.
Yeah.
He was just and like had dementia, and he was just so scared of dying.
And he didn't flip. He stuck to it.
He stuck to it, just so scared, just like terrified every day, just terrified of just disappearing into the void. Yeah. Which I don't really understand.
Being scared of being in the void, like,
well, if just like if you just, I mean, I guess it's like the concept of going into nothingness, but it's like, well, if it's nothingness, you're not gonna know.
Yeah, true. But I don't know, like like there's like a thing where it's like death isn't scary, just dying is terrifying. Because if you're dead, you're like you don't ever experience death, right? Because death is the opposite of your experience.
Yeah, he was like specifically afraid of death. His whole like every time you would see him, he would like know how someone died. Like he would read the newspapers about like how people died in a weird way. He'd be like, "Oh, someone fucking there was a plane crash." Like he was just obsessed with death, but also very scared of it. Yeah. And snakes, terrified of snakes.
Snakes kill you.
Yeah.
My dad's the same thing. My dad hates snakes and death. It's the two things.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So did you grow up with church?
So grew up in Catholic school, which I always felt was like not that big of a thing. Yeah. And then when I tell other people about like what actually happened in Catholic school, apparently it is a bigger thing.
What happened in Catholic school?
Well, nothing like scandals, but like you pray like 3 times a day at least, and then like the whole like having a religion class like every day. Yeah. Like pastors being in a school, like stuff like that. Like, I don't know, like, and just you go and sing hymns like every couple of days and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I don't know, just I guess like people didn't realize like that's like normal Catholic church. Whenever I bring it up. Yeah,
normal Catholic school.
Like you start every day saying like the Apostles' Creed and shit, which is like a statement, which is like, I believe in God, the Father Almighty, Creator of heaven and earth.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being a kid and being like, Christianity makes no fucking sense to me. Yeah. Because I had no experience of it. And then just like in like grade 4, I was like making fun of Jesus or something. And then this girl, Rachel, was like, you shouldn't do that. He died for your sins. Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? Yeah. How did he do that?
Yeah. So you didn't get raised religious at all. And then you grew up and you started getting into it. So what does religious even mean to you?
Oh, I'm not I wouldn't say religious. I'm like I have very like spiritual white girl new age beliefs. Okay. Pretty specific ones.
So new age, like astrology?
No, not so much astrology. I do think like my aunt is like a professional astrologer. Yeah. And the way I understand, like I believe that throughout history we've had like people can contact like guides and spirits, and right now we're going through a time where like the sort of veil is being lifted between that, and it used to be a lot more open back in like, you know, the pagan days and stuff. Like when people like look at how religious people were back then, and we go like, oh, those fucking idiots, they didn't know science, you know. I think they actually were in contact with like God and probably aliens and different like interdimensional beings and shit. And then when the fucking Crusades happened and all this shit, and they were trying to establish Christianity, all those beliefs were persecuted. Anyone who preached those beliefs were fucking killed or murdered or burned at the stake. And so like our recollection of how to interact with like spirits and different entities was forgotten. And went underground, except for like the secret societies that still exist today and control the planet with evil demonic forces.
Okay. I almost feel like when you think of like ancient like shamans or whatever, like sacrificing animals and stuff and like doing like alchemy, it almost feels like that's as close as they got to science. You know?
Well, I've read about like animal sacrifices, and I do think like sacrificing an animal and I've like read about like people who've been to animal sacrifices and had this like, you know, incredible bolt of like energy or whatever. And so I think there's like some validity to that kind of stuff. I wouldn't do it, but but yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously the shit wasn't scientific back then, but I think people had a different understanding of reality that might have been more accurate in some ways and a lot less accurate in other ways.
Why do you think everyone, like, because if you look at it, like all the religions start off with like sacrificing animals?
Do they?
Yeah, like Hindus have like they're from a tradition like from like the Brahmins, you know, the Brahmins.
Yeah,
so like a priest class that had to like sacrifice animals in specific ways and stuff like that.
Yeah,
even in the Bible, it opens up, it's telling you how to the beginning. It's like the Israelites, like they sacrifice, like you have to like cut open certain parts of the animal and smear this on the altar and all that stuff and burn it. And then like all like the pagan ones, like from what we know of what's left, like they're sacrificing stuff. Mayans are throwing stuff in the volcano. Why do you think they all have to sacrifice stuff to talk to spirits or gods or something?
I think I have no fucking clue, but I think it probably does. Like, I think there is like probably a release of like life energy or spiritual energy that does do something. And the way I understand reality, my white girl beliefs, is like we choose, like basically our souls are infinite, and before we're born we sort of choose what is going to happen to us before we were born. Like it's sort of a rough life path, but then we still have free will within our life.
Okay.
And so I think like an animal would be like, all right, yeah, I'll be sacrificed. And I think animals are like, a lot of animals that like get eaten and shit, they're like, yeah, I'll do that for my, you know.
So you're like are you like a big karma guy? Because that sounds like the whole karma system.
Karma, from what I've read, karma is like incredibly misunderstood as like a ledger of like doing good shit and doing bad shit. And if you do good shit, this happens, and you do bad shit, that happens. I don't really believe in like good or bad in that way. I don't believe in like traditional morality at all. I think like within a human framework, there's definitely good and bad stuff, and like you can't excuse it, but I don't think God really gives a shit.
Yeah.
You know, which is very problematic belief. If you go like, oh yeah, that genocide, God doesn't care.
Yeah.
Because I think it's up to humans to work all that shit out. And it's like, and this is why my religious beliefs could never, or spiritual beliefs could never be applied to a political framework, is because I think life is infinite, and so death is not the end, and we have sort of agreed to what's going to happen down here. And so but like so many religions have used that belief to justify doing the worst fucking shit, right?
Right.
Like fucking Buddhists and shit, like, you know, feudal Japan, where they would just kill people and be like, whatever, they'll just get reincarnated. And it's like, but you still shouldn't fucking just cut that guy's head off for looking at you wrong.
Why shouldn't you cut off their head?
Well, because I think, like, have you ever heard of Ken Wilber?
No.
He has this like idea of holons, and so it's like, it's basically concentric circles where like, so everything like within the smallest circle, that's like human life, right? Materiality, rationality, what we can see and experience. And then the next level is like a soul level, and that's like, you know, takes into your energy systems and psychic systems. And then there's like the spirit level when we're like all connected, and then above that is like the God level. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know how many holons there are, but it's like you still shouldn't do bad shit basically just on a human level. And like you can have your framework can just be like, okay, let's do good stuff just on the human level, you know? Yeah. So that's why you shouldn't kill someone for looking at you.
So do you believe in the what do you call it, the what levels? Holons. Yeah,
I think
so what would make you believe in that as a concept? Like, you think that's like a truth of how reality is structured, like there's these levels of holons?
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's really talking about a structural analysis of reality. More so, it's not like, oh, we're made of holons. It's like it's like lots of people said. I heard Tom Waits say once, like, there's no such thing as the truth. There's only truths. Yeah. And so something can be true on one level, but then if you expand out on another level, it's not true, and there's a larger truth that like encompasses it, right? Okay. Like, so I think like ultimately we're all God. Like, to me, God is just everything. Everything in existence is God.
So it sounded very Hindu.
Well, even
do you know anything about like Hinduism or?
Yeah, I studied Eastern philosophy, and even with all the Eastern philosophies, there's like a billion, like there's like so many Orthodox schools and heterodox schools, and because basically with like spirituality and everything, like I'm a lot more Eastern based if I was to believe in any religion. Yeah. But all the Buddhist schools, Hindu schools and stuff, it's like as soon as they, like, a bunch of guys will go and fucking meditate and be like, oh, I figured out the truth. But then as soon as you start saying the truth, then people go, oh, this is the truth. And for a bit, it's the truth. But then it starts getting like layered on with levels of tradition and orthodoxy and just bullshit. So then another guy goes and meditates and goes like, oh, all this shit is bullshit. It's not really true. You have to do this. And maybe that is the truth for a bit. But it's ultimately because like the human mind just can't understand the ultimate nature of reality.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I feel like it's just impossible to know everything. So you'll never be able to. Yeah. Like, you'd be overwhelmed if you like knew everything, right? Yeah. So you can only ever get like a small little piece of it. Yeah. But that's what's cool about the Eastern stuff is like it's like I don't know, coming from like Western like Christian stuff, it's very like dogmatic. It's like, this is the rules. Yeah. And it's like, oh, you didn't think this story meant this? Well, you're wrong. Yeah. But like the Eastern stuff is like a huge history. To me, it seems like a huge history of debate. Yeah. And it's like,
well, they get pretty dogmatic at times, too.
That's true. They
do kill each other over minor religious differences as well.
That's true. But, like saying Hinduism is, like, so broad compared to, like, saying, like, Christian, you know? Like, because, like, from the little bit I know of it, like, Hindus basically have the idea of, like, the Brahman, the everything, a.k.a. God or whatever, and then, like, the self. Yeah. And then there's all these different schools of how, like, the self interacts with the God, you know? Yeah. And, like, how like reality like sees itself or whatever, and they have like this, all the different sects seem to be like a debate on how that works, as opposed to like in like Western religions like Christianity and like Judaism, like Islam and stuff. It's like very much like, this is what it is said, so how do we shove this into this box?
Although even within Christianity there's like there's the same thing of like different heterodox and orthodox, and just like constantly being like, oh no, this is the truth, no, this is the truth, and no, this is the truth, you know?
Oh, but they're so much more similar than they are different.
Yeah, I haven't really studied Christianity that much. I don't really give a fuck. So like, this seems so. I think it's because like if fucking, because you come at Eastern religion generally later in life, because it's not as prevalent here. And so when I was just like, a young kid, fucking be, watching South Park and stuff, you'd be like, fucking religion's so fucking dumb, you fucking dumbasses. But I think there's probably some elements of truth to it. I don't know. The Bible just seems like, I haven't read it, but there's just so much stuff in there that seems like insane. Yeah. But also I do like, have you ever heard of Neville Goddard?
No.
He's this like Christian mystic kind of guy, big law of attraction dude. Yeah. And he was saying that like the Bible is basically like a metaphor for psychology. And
I think I've heard this, and it's like I'm cutting you off, but it's like it's like at the beginning God is like a guy, and then they slowly realize that voices in their head. That thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So this is maybe it's a different guy. I'll tell what I'm saying and you say what you're saying. There is a theory where like the Bible is like at the beginning is like people don't have like the idea that they have consciousness.
Yeah.
So they just walk around and like the voice in their head is telling them to do stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll just be like, oh, that must be God telling me to do that.
Yeah.
And then like in like ancient Athens or whatever, it's like, oh, Athena told me to do this or whatever.
Yeah,
and then they start to have like an internal monologue.
Yeah.
And then there's like a stage where it's like they're talking to God.
Yeah.
It's not just being directed. And then it goes on further, and then God becomes less like rigid.
Yeah.
And it becomes more all encompassing.
Yeah.
Is that generally?
I don't know. I mainly listen to him. Actually, it might not be Neville. I think it's Neville Goddard. But yeah, he's like, he basically is just like, I listen to a lot of law of attraction bullshit.
Okay.
Do you ever listen to that?
I had a phase of that. Yeah.
You got out of it?
Yeah, like Eckhart Tolle or whatever.
Eckhart Tolle's not really a law of attraction guy. No, Eckhart Tolle is the power of now, dude.
Okay.
Eckhart Tolle is like, because like this, a lot of spiritual people who are like enlightened or whatever think that law of attraction is kind of missing the point, because the law of attraction is very like sort of selfish and it's all about desire and like what do you want to manifest in reality. Whereas Eckhart Tolle, like he's talked about law of attraction before, where he's like, yeah, I mean, you can get this. He's like, it is real, because just your thoughts do create your reality, which like on a very fundamental level, I think is undeniable. Everything in reality was created by someone thinking it. But he is like, yeah, but it doesn't matter, because like just fucking, you should be focusing on spirituality, because if you're actually focused on spirituality, like all the things you want is just because of the mental state you think having those things will give you. Which is true, which is why fucking rich and famous people all go insane, because it doesn't actually give you that mental state. And if you're a tortured mind before, you'll be a tortured mind after you get it.
Yeah.
Which I've seen a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So here's a question. Define, I don't know if you did, but define like spirituality. Like my idea of like how I'll define spirituality or religion or whatever, is how I try to like encompass it, is it's like a philosophy and a practice.
Yeah. To me, like... Honestly, to me, oh fuck, sorry, I gotta plug my computer in so it doesn't die. That's a very good Okay, yeah. To me, spirituality is essentially, I think it's an attempt to explain a higher level of reality that we just don't understand. I think, like, if you were a fucking, 5,000 IQ alien, you could, like, what we conceive of spirituality to them would just be science. I think spirituality on a certain level, if we could understand everything there was to understand about spirituality, it would just be science to us. Like,
so you think spirituality is trying to find out what's going on as opposed to just feel a thing?
Well, I think it's got as many definitions as there are people who believe in it. Like, right. I think a lot of people take the metaphors just literally. But I think it's all just a metaphor to sort of explain something that our brains can't grasp. Just like we can't fully grasp that time doesn't exist, right?
Right.
Because it seems like it exists, but you've only ever been now.
Yeah.
But it's like, but 5 seconds ago was 5 seconds ago, Yeah. And it's like just the way our brains work, we don't actually understand the nature of time, which is all happening in one moment, which I still don't get, right? Because it's like, what do you mean? You experience it linearly. But so like spirituality is like basically what I think spirituality is like on one level is I think humans and Earth is a very, very dense vibration. Okay. And then spirituality is like interacting with things that are much higher vibration that we can't experience because we are in such dense vibration.
Okay.
But I've had like experiences. Basically what woke me up to spirituality was like having a bunch of dreams in high school where I saw the future. Okay. And
did it come true?
Yeah. It wasn't like it was just like a series of dreams. I was like in a very weird place. I was like 16 or 17 and I would have a dream and then the next day something like that something, the exact thing would happen, like deja vu, but it was like, it wasn't deja vu because I seen it, but it was never like fucking 9/11 or something. It was just like, it would be like you sitting there, like moving your leg, and it would just like be this very specific flash of something happening, and then the next day that thing would happen, like the way someone would walk down the stairs, and I'd be like, I fucking saw that. I remember seeing it.
I have one moment like that was like super vivid, and I think of it often, but it's the most inconsequential thing. I just vividly remember I was young, and I imagined myself getting out of a van and the exact same way onto this lawn.
Yeah.
And just how the door was framed and everything.
Yeah.
And then I ran into that when I was like 15, and I was like, no fucking way. I've been thinking of this exact moment forever.
Yeah.
And I thought like something crazy was about to happen, and just like nothing happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing when you first start, like when I first, because before that I was like fully atheist. The craziest thing that happened that like sort of blew my mind open is I had been having those dreams a bunch, and I was like freaking out because I was like, what's reality? Like I was a very science guy, like, you know, I didn't believe in God, I didn't even believe in love at the time. I was very like fucking, you know, 16 Reddit piece of shit, even though Reddit doesn't exist. And I was like, I had this conversation with my classmate Haley Wong, where I was like, no, love's not real, it's just like a biological imperative to like reproduce or whatever. And then I had this dream that I was with my cousin who had died, and like when she got cancer when she was like 7 or 8 and died, and in the dream I was with her and like just felt this overwhelming surge of love, and I was like, oh, this is what love is, like caring about something so much that you would easily die for it, right? And then in the dream I went and told my aunt about it, and so I had another dream where I went and told my aunt about it when I was in her house, and I was just standing at the top of her stairs, like from the basement stairs, and the door was open and she was outside. And like the dreams where I had been having, where you feel like you see the future, they feel different. They're very vivid, very like, it was always like, okay, that's gonna happen tomorrow. It's not like a normal dream where your teeth are falling or whatever. And so I went over to my cousin's house. My aunt wasn't there, and so we were just hanging out. And then my aunt comes home, and like the whole time I was like, oh, I know. I was thinking I was going to see her there with the door open. Then she comes home. I was like, oh, I guess I'm not. She's already in the house, so I'm not going to see it. And then so I go up to talk to her, and she'd just gone outside to go get groceries, and so they come help me with the groceries. And then I saw the exact thing. The door like open, just like it's like seeing like a slot, like a frame align with the frame in your mind, you know?
Yeah.
And then I just started like freaking out. I started crying. And then like I told her, I was like, I think I need to talk to your psychic friend, because I knew she was super into like spirituality, New Age, all this shit. That's why I had to talk to her. And she was like, and I knew she had this friend who was like psychic or whatever. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. I got to talk to her. And then like 5 minutes later, her friend called, her psychic friend. And she's like, hey, like, why am I calling? Like, what's up? What's going on? Yeah. And I just told her what was going on. And that sort of like broke open my reality to just like, oh, how we conceive of reality is not actual, the end all be all, you know?
So for you, spirituality is like is an active pursuit of trying to understand stuff because you realize you don't understand anything.
Yeah, kind of. It's the same reason I've always been obsessed with like truth and like what the fuck is actually going on, and like philosophy and all this shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you go to like the psychic, are you going there being like, I want to experience the other side, or you like explain to me the other side?
It's usually when I need help in my life, because like despite, you know, my psychic powers or being able to see the future, my life has been incredible. It's just been so much addiction and like fucking setbacks and like not knowing how the fuck to like make my life move forward. Like I've been sort of in the same place since I like turned 17, and it was always because of fucking alcoholism. But I don't even know if that's the case. I sort of think like maybe I was just meant to go through this, because like I knew I was like, you know, smart or whatever. I could have gone to university. I could have like had a decent job while I was, you know, even pursuing stand up, or I used to want to pursue music or like all this shit. But I just couldn't ever get my life to fucking move. And so every time I've gone to see like you know, any type of spiritual person, is always like, what the fuck is my problem?
See, that's so funny to me, because I don't know if maybe like a lot of New Age people are like this, but I've had past hippie phases or whatever, or doing LSD with hippies and stuff. it always seemed like for them spirituality was just like, I don't know what it is, I just want to feel the vibe. And you're very much like, spirituality is like, I'm trying to figure shit out.
Yeah.
Which is like me coming from like the Catholic background. Catholic is like, we figured shit out. This is what it is.
Yeah.
This is like the systematic way to live your life. This is a systematic way of how things are.
Yeah.
And for me, like leaving that is more like, I don't think this is true. I think this is a metaphor of how people experience a thing, and experience is like the actual goal. And then you're the complete opposite, but it's not religious based.
No, I mean anything like because I do agree with like the idea that it's like as soon as you put it into words, like Buddhists is like as soon as you put it into words, it's wrong, right? Yeah. Like, and so if we could just understand reality, if our brains could fully grasp and understand reality, like I've had like this one time when I was meditating, my aunt was teaching like a meditation course, and no one signed up. She just moved to Victoria, and I did. It was the first time I'd ever meditated, and so she was doing this guided meditation for just me. And I fully had an experience of no mind that again changed my understanding of reality, where I it was just like my brain completely dropped out, and I experienced that like the actual ground of existence is pure bliss. Yeah. And everything we think we want is just to feel that feeling. What we actually want is peace of mind. People go, I want money. I want this. Is like, if you could just walk around feeling like that, you wouldn't give a shit about money. And a lot of people, when they go through like an enlightenment experience, they can't even function. Like Eckhart Tolle, when he had an enlightenment experience or whatever, he just stayed on a park bench for like 3 years feeding birds.
Because you can't handle it, right?
Yeah, because you're like, why would I do anything else? And then like when he would run out of money, he would just walk into a convenience store and buy a lottery ticket and win like fucking $14,000.
So what do you think peace of mind is then? Because do you have the idea, like I kind of have the idea, and I think a lot of spirituality and religion or whatever has this, where it's like almost like the things in the world is separating you from the important thing, which if you're meditating, you're sitting there and you're getting rid of your thoughts, you're getting rid of like in the moment you have no drives or whatever, there's nothing but your pure thought. Yeah. And it's almost like that's like your essence. Yeah. And you go back to the world and it just fucks it up.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you think peace of mind is the same thing as God? Is that
I think
direction you're heading?
Well, I think God is everything.
Okay.
So God is like you can't separate God from not God, right? And that's very problematic for people, because you'd be like, wait, the most horrible things in the world are God? And it's like, yeah, it's all God. Everything is God. Your thoughts, your good thoughts, your bad thoughts, it's all God. Yeah. Because it's indivisible. You can't separate anything from anything else. Yeah. And existence just is. There's nothing outside of existence, because how could there be something outside of existence? It would have to not exist.
Well, the argument for that is like there's the necessary existence, which is like so there's the idea of like, and I'm going to talk on my ass about like this Eastern like religion stuff.
I've been doing,
yeah, okay, cool. So like, for example, in like some schools of Hinduism, there's like the Brahman, which is everything, the way you're describing, and then there's like the self, which is like your perception of it or whatever. Yeah. And then they have different ideas of like the self is God experiencing himself, or is the self trying to get over to God like that? Like, and that's like the whole like thing where like, is everything the same thing? How can everything be the same thing if I can experience it? Am I separate from everything? If you know? Yeah. And then the religion kind of based one, like people who believe in like an actual figure, like a lot of the philosophers of like religion, they have a necessary existence where it's like, if everything is dependent on each other, then on like if you zoom all the way out, everything is the same thing. So there is nothing. Does that make sense? And for there to be something has to exist based on its need to exist in the first place. Oh, it doesn't make any sense at all.
You might have lost me.
Yeah. Okay, so how do I get into this?
Like for existence to exist, there has to be non-existence.
So here's a metaphor I heard once. So it's like you picture a ball. Picture there's nothing at all. There's nothing at all. Like a big, not even a white space, just nothing. There's a ball. Yeah. So is that ball moving? You can't tell, right? Yeah. Until there's another ball. Yeah. And then that ball, you can only see if it moves in relation to that other ball. Yeah. And then is that ball going up or down? Yeah. And then you need another ball to do that. Mm-hmm. So the thing that actually exists is the reference between the balls. Yeah. But for everything, if everything is dependent on a reference to something else, then it's the same thing, sort of. Does that make sense? Because it's nothing without the other thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So for there to be anything, it needs a reference point that's outside of itself.
Yeah.
And that's like the necessary existence.
Yeah. Well, also like the same way that time doesn't exist, I don't think space exists.
Okay.
Right? Because think of it, you've never been anywhere but right here.
Yeah.
You know? And you've never been anywhere but right here, right now. Everything that's happening is right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyone who's experiencing it is right here, and it's like, yeah, well, it's over there. Well, go over there. Where are you now? Here.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But all that stuff, I think like the human mind just can't really fully grasp the actual nature of reality in that way.
Yeah.
And it probably has all sorts of like contradictions based on our understanding of physics and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever read Camus?
No, I've read philosopher-wise. I've read a lot of Nietzsche.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say his name because I've read it.
That's right.
Say it out loud.
Nietzsche.
I'm brushed up on like some like Plato and stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Not a big philosophy guy anymore. I tried to get into it when I was younger, and like, unfortunately, they're bad writers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Nietzsche was interesting because, like, a lot of philosophers, I'm like, you just never got laid.
Yeah.
And that was Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Well, he probably got syphilis from a prostitute.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, I'm just like, dude, you just need to fucking chill out, get laid.
Yeah.
And so much of Western philosophy is because it is just like that's why I like Eastern philosophy more, because it's just like guys meditating in a fucking cave or whatever and being like, you know, what is the nature of reality? Although Plato is sort of a bit more like that. Socrates, Aristotle, they sort of deal with the nature of God. Well, I
actually don't know if I agree. And who the fuck am I to say that Eastern stuff is like them sitting there trying to think of what is the nature? I think it's more them trying to experience what it is. Like a lot of Buddhism is about meditating, like separating at the world away from you or whatever, being in the now and all the stuff you're talking about. But I don't feel like that's in the pursuit of trying to find knowledge. I've read a lot of like Buddhist scripture stuff, and like you were talking about like the second you can say the thing that's not the thing. Yeah. That's like a core. That's like the opening line of like the Tao Te Ching for like Taoism and Taoism.
The truth you can say is not the truth.
Yeah.
The way is not the way.
So I don't know if they're really trying to. I feel like it's actively not trying to figure it out. Like Taoism itself is like the in action where it's like you're doing stuff without the choice.
Yeah, I think it's both. Like I've read a lot of Buddhist philosophy. I read this one guy, Chogyam Trungpa. Have you ever heard Chogyam Trungpa?
The names, dude. I'm not. Yeah.
Chogyam Trungpa was dope as hell. Yeah. He was a Tibetan philosopher who was like recognized as a reincarnation of some. I forget the title, not Dalai Lama, but some high up reincarnated guy. And he fled Tibet when China was invading and killing all the Buddhists. And he came to America and realized, and this was like during the 60s when there was this whole spiritual revolution in consciousness. And he saw how fucking lost all the goddamn hippies were. Yeah. And so he was trying to teach. He is basically responsible for bringing Buddhism to the West, because he was the one to bring Buddhist traditions to the West, right? And explain Buddhism to a way that the Western mind could understand. And so he explained to people like, fucking get a job. Yeah. Because his whole thing was like, or one of his things was cutting through spiritual materialism, the idea that certain ways of life are spiritual and certain ways are not. And he was like, no, you can get a job because this is your tradition. You were born in the West, and so embrace the Western lifestyle. Get a job, buy a house, have a family.
That's a cool thing. So I've read like a bunch of like excerpts from the Pali Canon. Do you know what that is? That's like the original Buddhist scriptures. It's like the Buddha giving lectures or whatever. Yeah. Presumably, it's like him actually saying it. And like there's like a concept, and this is me thinking. This is not a thing that's accepted. But like so, like in Buddhism, like there's like tiers of reincarnation, right? So like if you have bad karma, you're like an ant. You have better karma, you're a human. Better karma, you get to be reincarnated as a monk or whatever. And then better karma, you eventually bought Sana or whatever it is, and then the Buddha or whatever. You keep working your way up. Yeah. So if you think of that, it's like if you're like born in Canada with like Christian parents and stuff, you're probably not on the reincarnation to be the Buddha.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to be like born in like a monastery or something.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I wonder if that's why those people who like brought like Buddhism and like stuff to like the West are like, well, you have to be in your tradition because this is where you've been put.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like so much of what I've read from Chogyam Trungpa about karma is like it's not like, oh, good or bad karma. It's like, oh, you killed a bunch of people. Yeah. Karma is basically just like your level of ignorance and being trapped in samsara, being trapped in Maya illusion, and the more you meditate is how you get rid of karma, because you're not even putting thoughts out there. Right. Every even thought you put out generates karma. Everything you do generates karma. Yeah. So like you should be meditating as much as possible to sort of like clean your karma, and then you get freed from the wheel of samsara. And because as long as you're fucking being born and rebirth, he's just talking about how like everything in life, if you're really able to get right down to it, it all contains like an element of suffering. Right. Even just like fucking, you know, like getting laid, doing much
the attachment to the earth, it brings out suffering.
Yeah,
because to be like to reach enlightenment or nirvana or whatever, you can't even have like good karma. Yeah. Or good, bad. I think that's a Western way of looking at it.
That's very Western.
But like you have to be completely detached at the very end.
Yeah, detached, and then also just like have such a pure mind, or just like be actually to control your mind, right? Yeah. And so you actually have, you know, and they talk about how it's easier to conquer the world than it's to actually conquer your mind. Like when you actually think about like how fucking hard it is to meditate to get to the point where you're not actually fucking thinking anything.
Yeah, like no desires.
Yeah, like I slipped into it once, and I thought that was like, oh, this is what meditating is. Every time I meditate, I'm going to do this. But I think it was just like this random meditative experience that sort of like got me on the path. And then I spent the next fucking 20 years just being a blackout alcoholic.
Yeah. I don't feel anything when I'm drunk.
Yeah. And so but I also think there's a lot of Buddhist script, like a lot of what Buddhists put out is like, I think there's like secret layers of Buddhist knowledge that they don't tell people because they don't want people getting distracted by the bullshit. Right. And Buddhism is very just like, shut the fuck up, meditate. That's what you need to do. Just fucking shut up, meditate, figure out your own mind, because you can't read this shit and understand it. Yeah. You actually have to practice it. Yeah. And if you're not practicing it, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. But what's fucked up kind of about the Buddhist system and like a lot of the Eastern ones, especially with the reincarnation, whatever, and you're working your way towards having no karma, no attachment to the world. Yeah. Like, there's still reliance on so many like lay people who are like at the bottom rung to like fund that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are completely detached from the world, you need someone out there doing grunt work so you can live that life, you know?
Well, a lot of the Buddhists, like there's all these Buddhists, like Buddhas or whatever, because Buddha is just a term for someone who's attained enlightenment. And they would be like fucking, there's all these like Buddhist art of them sweeping and fetching water and chopping wood. Like that's what the fucking Buddhists say: before enlightenment, fetch water, chop wood; after enlightenment, fetch water, chop wood. So I don't think that it's like you can't just live on your own, fucking grow crops and shit, and be an enlightened master or whatever.
Yeah, but then that's like an attachment to the world, you know?
Well, I think as long as you're in the world, you're attached to it. I've read a lot of this stuff, and part of my manic episode was thinking I was going to die because I thought I was enlightened. And so, because I've read a lot about how, like, enlightened masters, if they hit enlightenment, a lot of them will just die because, like, they no longer need to be incarnated in a body. Yeah. And so they're just like, yep, fucking next level of shit.
Well, there's, like, what are the Jainists? Do you know anything about Jainism?
Jainism, I think?
Yeah. So there's also like an Eastern thing like that, and like there's guys who like are right about to reach enlightenment or whatever, and they just like stop and they just like die. Like they actually do that. Like there's like one guy who's famous for just like put his hand up there in the sky and just left it there, and it's like shriveling up and it's like all dehydrated because it's just like he's completely detached from everything. Yeah. But those guys are like so intense.
That looks fucking so stupid to me. Just put your fucking hand down, bro.
Yeah, but hey, man, he made it. That's why you're not enlightened, buddy.
Yeah, I guess so.
But even they have like things where it's like they can only drink boiled water because they don't want to ingest like an insect or whatever, because that's like bringing about like bad energy to the world. But then they're reliant on like a layman to boil the water for them.
Yeah, and see, that's why I think like, and I've read different Buddhist philosophers and shit saying that shit's wrong, because it's like fucking if you're actually detached, you could go kill fucking school,
yeah.
because the world isn't like you wouldn't, but you could, because it's like you're actually detached from everything, and ultimately it's your state of being that determines your level of detachment, not your actions. Yeah,
there's a big refutation of Buddhism though, where it's like, I don't know if you believe in an actual Buddhist story, but because like Buddha, like the first Buddha ever is Mahatma Gandhi or whatever his name is. Like
or no. Gandhi.
yeah. But so he like reached enlightenment or whatever, but then he wanted to come back and teach everyone before he was gone, so they could reach it too. But so it's like, did he really reach enlightenment if he had the desire to help other people? Because at the last rung, you're supposed to not even have like positive desires.
Well, I think like you've heard of the Bodhisattva vow, right?
Tell me.
The Bodhisattvic vow is you take a vow where you vow not to attain full enlightenment until every being on the planet.
Yeah, so that's like a Zen Buddhist thing I've learned. That's like one school of Buddhism.
Is it?
Yeah, and that's the one that's the most popular in the West.
Yeah.
That one's cool because I looked up on how they rationalize nirvana or whatever. It's like they say nirvana is on earth because they're very like, they're in the school of like everything's interdependence, like the ball thing.
Yeah.
And it's like if the Buddha achieved nirvana, the Buddha was part of the world, so that means nirvana is in the world, so you can achieve nirvana in the world.
Yeah, which I think is true. I think it's all just a state of being, right? It's not like you have to go somewhere else. And so I think the first Buddha, like I've heard stories of.
So it's a state of being. It's not a state of non-being.
Yeah, it's a state of being.
Okay.
Because.
It's not a state of
they
detachment.
Get really fucked up with fucking existence, non-existence bullshit. But
which I think that's like the main question is existence versus non-existence.
Yeah, well,
like all of it.
Yeah, I've read this book like multiple times. I forget what it was called. It's like this large Buddhist text about like the very particulars. There's 3 of them. I forget the name of it.
The Gunas and Hinduism.
No, it's by Chogyam Trungpa.
Oh, okay.
And so it's written relatively recently in the 70s. Although a lot of his stuff was actually transcribed from like talks he gave. But he was. I forget what I was going to say.
The 3 things of Buddhism transcribed from his talks.
Well, yeah, he was talking about he's like people get caught up with the non-existence because like ultimately your idea of who you are, like your conception of yourself, that's what you have to transcend, is like realizing that you don't exist in the sense that like everything you think you are, that's a mental projection. And if you actually were to like drop out of that, you would see it's all just a mental projection. And I've gotten there like a few times in like a few meditative states where it's like you really fully grasp that, where you're like, oh fuck, and then it accompanies like a state of fear. And like he talks about that, the fear where you're like, holy fuck, I'm not even real, what the fuck? But he also says, he's like, no, but you are real because you're in the world. Like you fucking need to eat breakfast and shit. Like you're real. Yeah, you are real in a sense. And so don't get fucking too caught up in that. It's like you are a guy. Yeah. You're going to fucking, even once you attain alignment, you're still going to have a body and you have to walk around and do shit.
So how do you reconcile the thought in your head about being real and not real? Like right there, you're like, I realize I'm not real, but then you realize you're real instantly after. So how do you...
Well, it's just all thoughts, right?
Yeah.
It's so like, and as soon as you get back to that fear of like, I'm not real, it's like, oh, then that you're having that thought again. Yeah. You know, but if you like, and I've just had like a few experiences with that, or even just like doing drugs and like really feeling that, where it's like, well, you have a bit more control over your mind, where you're like, oh no, everything I think and all this bullshit that's just like in my head as I walk around all day, those are just patterns, and they're very subtle patterns, and that's why you need to meditate, is to actually like get on top of those patterns and realize every act you have is accompanied by a tiny act of volition. Like it is all coming from you. It's just on such a subtle level that it's almost impossible to fully realize.
So you think it's coming from you, though?
Yeah.
It's not coming from something outside you?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you think everyone is in the center of their own universe? Which is kind of true.
Well, like your thoughts. I think your existence ultimately is God. I think like once we get into enlightenment, it's like you fucking pass the level or whatever. It's like fucking you did it. Fucking welcome to the next level. Now you gotta transcend this level or whatever. On and on until you just become like infinite oneness or whatever the fuck. Yeah. I don't really understand it, but while every thought you have, and that's basically like even perceptions, and so like for me to see that I'm in a body, that is a thought in some sense, or it's a sense perception. Like they talk about thoughts versus sense perceptions, but even sense perceptions are accompanied by like a state kind of volition, because you can like tune that out, I guess. I don't know if you close your eyes or but yeah, Chogyam Trungpa was dope because like in the 60s when he was bringing all this stuff over, he was sort of got wrapped up in the whole like consciousness revolution, and he was a crazy alcoholic. He died of cirrhosis. And was very controversial because he had like these fucking huge orgies, and like of course later on some women were like, I wasn't actually super cool with that. That was classic 60s spirituality.
Same thing happened with Alan Watts. He's another bringing like the east to the west guy, and like he would do like tours and lectures of like universities about like achieving enlightenment and stuff, and just like fuck all the college students.
Yeah, those guys are big on that.
yeah.
Because I think when you like, I certainly know when I'm less wrapped up in my thoughts, you have way more charisma. You have so much swag because you don't give a fuck, and so you have this like supernatural level. I think that's what a lot of cult leaders have, right? Yeah. Which, I think the level between like cult leader and spiritual leader is fucking pretty.
What do you think the difference is?
I mean, I guess it depends what you're doing it for.
I think just the leadership role in general is the bad part. If you're really spiritual, do you think you want to lead at all?
Well, and like, because in Buddhism they talk, or at least fucking Chogyam Trungpa. Almost everything I've read about Buddhism is fucking Chogyam Trungpa. Some Pema Chodron, but I don't like the way she looks.
Okay, fair enough.
And so I think when you, at least certainly I have a desire to help people, even like I have a desire to help myself and like get past all the shit, but to also like, if you can transcend suffering, he talks about this all the time. It's like the next step should be to help other people transcend suffering. And he talks about like why you shouldn't just go fucking meditate in a cave, because that's like, pussy shit, where it's like, no, fucking go out to the world. You're in this world for a reason. Go help people. Go fucking help them figure it out. Go be part of the world,
So why do you think that is? So you keep saying like you have like a mission on Earth or whatever, and like you have to go help people. Like, why do you think you have to help people?
I don't think you have to.
But why do you think it's a good thing?
I think if you have in your own life transcended suffering, then I think it's a natural impulse, because I think humans and like once you recognize that your non-existence or whatever, and then so you see that you and the world are not separate, and so it can even be a selfish act to help people, because you're like, you're suffering, I am you, stop that.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of what I was wondering, if that's like because that's like big foundational thing where it's like everyone is the same person or whatever, everything is connected to the whole, so helping someone else is helping you. Cool. So do you think you're separate from other people, or do you think you are the same as me right now?
Well, it would come back to like the whole on shit, right? Where it's like on one level, obviously I'm fucking separate. When you leave here, you're gonna go live your life. I'm not gonna, But then on the next level, it's like, no, all consciousness is indivisible, and we are all one. Yeah. Like, if you heard of Shambhala. Yeah, like not the music.
Like okay, I thought you were talking about the music festival.
No, it's like in Buddhism, it's a myth of a spiritual kingdom that was just run so perfectly, and they all lived according to like these spiritual principles that basically they transcended to a next level of existence, which I think we're all on our way to eventually. But I also believe in infinite realities.
So you have very strong beliefs, but like I don't really understand why.
Why?
Yeah, like why do you believe these things? It's just because you've experienced it, so you're like confirms it in your head. Or did you hear it and you're like, oh well, that logically checks out, so that's the thing.
I have a very open mind. Yeah. Which and I've just always been obsessed with finding. Like, I think ever since that shit happened to me in high school where I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? Yeah. Wait, I can see the future?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, and so I was like, what? And so since then I was like, what the fuck actually is going on? Mm-hmm. And so I've read tons of different shit. I've gotten into like, and open mind, like very open-mindedness. Like fucking, if I didn't have the internet, I would have joined so many fucking cults by now. Because I'll be like, well, what this guy is saying checks out. Like, and I've, you know, throughout my like 20s, I fucking like, you know, was a misanthrope for a lot of shit, hated society, like, and you know, wanted to fucking burn it all down or whatever, because you can see, well, like, you know, I'm not happy in this, but also it was my own indolence and fucking alcoholism that was making me so unhappy, but you blame society or whatever.
Right.
And so I've read so much shit about like the nature of reality and like been guided down a lot of weird fucking rabbit holes, went into like a lot of conspiracies and shit, which I do believe a lot of conspiracies still. But I also think that because reality is constructed by your mind and law of attraction and shit, whatever you believe, like if you're looking for conspiracies and looking
it's
for
like
control,
confirmation bias, right?
Well, it's not necessarily confirmation bias. It's like that is the reality you will experience. So there could be like fucking Illuminati doing all this shit, but the level to which that's actually going to affect your life is the level to which you're obsessed with it. Because if you walk around going like, fucking, I'm not in control of my own life. I can't get the things I want because the Illuminati are in control of everything. It's like, well, yeah, you're thinking that all the time. So you're not doing the things that would help you live your life. And I think like even, and I think that is sort of the goal of the Illuminati or whatever, is to get us to embrace this sort of capitalist realism where we think that we don't have control.
Yeah.
You know, and
so for you, spirituality is very much escaping suffering. It is very much in line with the Buddhism stuff.
Yeah, I probably would say like I've been very, you know, I've suffered a lot for someone who never was like on the streets or anything.
Yeah.
I've suffering all from my own fucking mind and thoughts and actions.
Yeah. So it's both for you escaping suffering and also it's you trying to find answers. Mostly the answers to escape suffering.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I think like it's the suffering of ignorance, which is another thing like talking about. It's just like if you're ignorant, ignorance is suffering because it's confusion, and being confused is a state of suffering. And for me, I've been like so confused, like being like, what the fuck? Yeah. What is it? What is it? What the fuck is it? Yeah. Why, you know, like, why do I have to fucking work a landscaping? Why am I a landscaper right now? I'm fucking 29. I could have gone to university. I could be a fucking lawyer right now, but I'm a landscaper. I shouldn't talk about landscaping, you know, but like,
I actually love landscaping. I feel like
I hate it so much.
Well, actually, I don't love it. It's actually brutal. But there's like every once in a while you get that little glimpse where it's kind of like a Zen moment. Like I remember I would be what do you call it? Like dethatching a lawn or whatever, like a power rake or whatever, like taking up the old grass. And after I'd have to rake it with like a hand rake. Yeah. And I remember I would always have this feeling where it's like I'm like raking like a big dog right now. I was like the lawn is like a dog, and I would just all I would think about was just like scratching the back of this giant dog.
Yeah, mowing lawns can be like meditative sometimes, but it's just like I fucking hate physical labor. I love exercise. I love like fucking working out and shit, but I just hate. I hate bosses. Ever since the gig economy existed, I've had maybe like I worked at a cafe for a few months here and there. Yeah. But I fucking hate bosses. Like I hate authority.
Would you like being a landscaper if you were your own boss? Like would you like
no, because you still have clients that are the boss of you.
What if you were just like on like a Buddhist monastery and you were the guy who cuts the grass? Do you think you'd like that?
It just sounds so fucking boring. Like fully embracing spirituality, I just don't think it's my path right now this lifetime. Basically, I just want to like achieve my stand-up goals first because I've been fucking working at it for so long. Yeah. And honestly, I feel like the keto diet has been the thing that's helped me get there.
Okay.
Because I just like got back on keto and it's completely changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I did it for cognitive health. Because like for a while, I was like just like. Ever since my manic episode, I'm just like going up and down, but like I was like just suffering and in a really bad state, and then was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how do I get past this? And then I ended up listening to some cognitive health podcast where the guy was talking about the keto diet and how it's the number one cure for epilepsy. Yeah. Like proven, which is crazy, like gold standard of scientific proof.
Okay.
And then and there's less confirmation about whether or not it's actually beneficial for bipolar, but there's a lot of like some studies that would reveal that, and good for ADHD. And since switching to it, I've been in such a more positive place that I actually finally feel like I have the motivation to get where I want to get with stand up and like fucking sketches, and just like I've just been doing this for so fucking long. And mainly at this point, so much of this, I recognized this the other day after like dreams I was having, is just like fucking all the people I've met in my life who are doing stand-up, the ones who are more successful, a lot of them are fucking like piece of shit narcissists. Not all of them, but a lot of them are very successful people, fucking the greatest people in the world, you know?
Yeah.
But a lot
so like I can't be spiritual right now. I got to be a narcissist in this life.
Well, not be narcissist.
I got to start eating meat and fucking.
Not a narcissist. It's just like because I'm like fucking. It's honestly, it's like, okay, if this law of attraction shit is true, if you can control your reality with your thoughts, then fucking let me find out. And I'm like getting there. And I still get like very hung up on shit because I'll like fucking put out a video and I'll be like, only 2,000 views? What the fuck? Like, I want to be famous now. And it's just like, it's not even fame. It's like, right now I have a goal to like just be a successful stand-up. Because once you get to that point, I mean, it is like my interest is like, I would just fucking love to be able to wake up, fucking do this podcast because I fucking love podcasting. I do like stand-up, but stand-up is like this constant push and pull where it's like, you know, I would be so committed to stand-up, be doing it every night, and then book like a mini tour or whatever, or even just do like, you know, a week of shows or like just go on a little road tour or whatever. And then by the time you get back, you're like, do I even fucking like this? It's just so emotionally taxing, like getting on stage every night. And so now my sort of thing is like, I want to get to the point where I don't feel that emotional taxation. And I am getting there, you know, because it's like the emotional taxation is, what if this goes bad? You know, what if people don't like me? Because also like part of my karma or whatever is having a like people like having a deep-seated like emotional avoidance that comes from like, you know, childhood rejection by my parents or you know, and so needing people to like me, but then also coming from emotional avoidance. And like before my manic episode, I was like fucking living in my basement, like my girlfriend's grandparents' basement, not talking to anyone because I just had such bad social anxiety. And it's like I'm trying to overcome all anxiety, you know. And so like it's kind of like doing that as kind of like a spiritual practice, because it's like, okay, I want like, and also knowing that like, okay, so I have these thoughts about like, you know, Buddhism and all this shit. People look up to people who accomplish things, and so if I accomplish these things, I could be like, hey, fucking, you know, do this or whatever, and not necessarily to accomplish those things, but because people value accomplishment so much, to just have a platform to whatever speak bullshit, you know.
Do people value accomplishments? Here's my thing, like, and this is a kind of hacky answer, but this is what I feel is the goal of everything, and I don't know how to get there, but I feel like the way to feel fulfilled in anything you're doing, and to get, even if to buy as a byproduct, to get recognition, to get love from people or whatever, is you need to be in service of other people. You can't take, you have to give. And no one wants someone to roll up and like take from them. You know, and people will like, if you're like a famous stand-up, people are like, they're excited that you're gonna go give them laughter or something. You know, exactly,
and that's what I'm trying to do is like try to make people. But then you get so caught up in like the division in between, like, you know, taking and giving. Because it's like, it is, you do want things,
and it goes in phases too. Because every once in a while, you gotta just fucking crack down and be like, it's time to hustle. And then it's time to be selfish for a bit so you can get here, so you can give more or whatever. For sure. Because it's like, especially stand-up is such a weird art form, because it is like, if you can be fully focused on the audience, then you can give them something. But then you also need to be working on your own craft to be able to give them something. And like that desire to get the laughs is what pushes you forward to the place where you can give the laughs, you know. It's like, are you getting laughs or are you giving laughs? You know. It's a very weird thing. But it sounds like I don't know, it's kind of funny that you're I guess you're probably just in a phase right now where you're like, I need to get my shit locked down so then I can build something to give. Do you think that's it? Is there an end goal to give?
Well, like, I would like to think that that's what I'm doing now, right? It's like even doing fucking short form content. It's like when I make a video, I like to think, because especially now with the fucking internet and all the bullshit on the internet, it's so much negative vibration, you know, of like, especially my algorithm, because I'm very I get very caught up in the gender bullshit because I'll watch stuff that pisses me off or whatever, like everyone does, and just like the hatred between men and women right now that is fucking like boiling over online, which I don't think is like reflective of reality, but I think a lot of young people, fucking like Gen Z, a lot of the young men are just so mad at women because they're fucking consuming content online. But then also you see so many fucking women just shit talking men, you know? And it's like, you guys, we gotta stop. And I think everyone in this moment is very confused about gender and gender roles and what those actually mean, you know?
I don't think a lot of people are thinking about gender roles right now. I think people in like little niches are thinking about this.
I don't think they're thinking of it in that way, but I think like, you know, even men being like, fuck women, you're all dumb bitches. That's still thinking about gender roles, just not in a way that you would talk about it.
But the people who just spend a lot of time being like, fuck women, they're dumb bitches, like they're an outlier. Most people are just going to work. You know, most people aren't thinking about this.
Like more and more young men aren't even fucking working.
That's true, yeah.
You know, they're fucking staying online, and then also more and more women are like working, but like I was going through like a bad phase where I was like, feminism fucking fucked everything up. Where I just like, and so I was just seeing all these videos, and then there's because people know that fucking rage makes people watch stuff. It gets passed on, and then it's like a mind virus where you start to see that in real, and it's like if you have hatred for women, and spend all day online looking at women doing terrible things, it's like, that your reality is going to be confirmed. There are a lot of really annoying women saying dumb stuff about men online. And I do think that we need to label that kind of shit the same way we label men who talk shit about women, you know, where it's like, oh, you're being red pilled, you're fucking whatever. It's like there is now an element of that just where women are getting radicalized against men and saying all this shit about like men are top, men are like evil, all this stuff. And it's like, no, both sides of those are bad. And to resolve one side, we do need to resolve the other side.
Right. I don't really think too much about that, man.
I think way too much about it. Way too much about it. Yeah, just because like I do think especially when you look at like what so much of the stuff that's getting taught in universities, like a lot of it is kind of this like weird ideology about like third wave feminism. A lot of the ideas that are coming out of it are just like terrible, you know, where it used to be about like, you know, equality. And then a lot of it is just like, you know, feminists or like, you know, professors just talking shit about men, about like men are evil, men are like all rapists, men are like bad. And it's like that stuff is just as destructive as some guy saying all women are like bitches who want to just be fucking, you know, whatever. But like one of it is getting taught in universities and the other is being like, you know, taught online by, you know, terrible men. And they're both just exploiting, you know, people's weaknesses and vulnerabilities, because I think like hatred for women and hatred for men is so like Louis C.K. had a bit about it, prominent feminist.
He was for a while, but he was like the guy. He was like the feminist white privileged guy. Well, like because he did embrace all that stuff where it was like with all the, you know, whatever would be defined as like wokeness. It's like, they do have a point a lot about a lot of stuff, but then a lot of times like their answers for how to deal with it are just misguided or whatever. I feel like here's a super ignorant, maybe head in the clouds way of doing that stuff. Is like all hate is bad.
Exactly.
It's just like, and feeding into it's just bad. Just try to focus on loving people and giving back instead of
and like as soon like because when I get into like a dark, you know, rabbit hole of you know, fucking focusing on that bullshit is like you then start to focus on it, and then but as soon as you go outside and get off your phone, it's like, no, people, like, women don't hate you.
Yeah.
Fucking they're just, it's just online, and you can spend all day online, and I'll, like, you know, if I'm in a really bad place, I will. Just like watching all, like, you know, women saying terrible things about men, and but, you know, with hundreds of thousands of views, like female influencers just talking about how men are whatever, useless, they're not masculine enough or too masculine or whatever. And it's a really weird place now with, like, you know, anti-men stuff online, because half of them are saying, like, oh, masculinity is terrible and, like, we need to destroy masculinity, and, like, a lot of them saying, like, men should need to, like, pass, you know, should need, like, the government to, like, tell them whether or not they can have kids, like, stuff that's like, if you would just reverse the genders, or, like, you know, saying all men are evil, all men are bad.
I have never heard, I'm sure it exists, I have never heard someone bring up the idea that the government should tell men if they should have kids.
Yeah, well,
you're deep in there, brother.
They're out there. Well, it's because your algorithm. They're just like, I got really into it for a while,
yeah.
And it is so destructive. But it's like when you're in that place, you just, like, there's something that wants that negativity, you know, and wants.
Well, it's like because here, this is another thing where it's like this is just a vibe. This is just a vibe I have. It's like if I'm on my phone, I'm like hate watching things, like I'm taking, right. Yeah. It's a lot easier to take in hate, which kind of feeds this, like, the loop, whatever.
Yeah.
And if you're just focusing on giving out and, like, loving people, like, I feel like you're not as consumptive.
For sure.
You know?
Totally. Because if you're in a good place, you just won't even be on your phone. Like, being on your phone puts you, like, if you
have shit to do for your community, you're not on your phone.
Have you done drugs?
Yeah, I used to do a bunch of acid and mushrooms and stuff back, but I don't do it anymore.
And do you ever do acid and then look at your phone and you're like, ugh, this is terrible.
I mean, when I was taking acid, I was like 20, and when I was 20, I was kind of like rejecting smartphones, so I had like a Razor phone.
Yeah. Well,
so
that's healthy.
I don't know if I've ever taken like a real psychedelic trip and had like a smartphone.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You just realize
you'd probably spend your whole fucking trip on your phone.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You can't, because you're like, this is just looking at it for a second. You're like, this is poison.
Yeah.
This is spiritual poison, and it's killing me.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is nice when you get that realization.
Yeah.
I find like the easiest way to quit something is when you just realize it's bad.
Yeah.
And I found it so hard to quit like a bad habit until you realize, like, you have that feeling where you're like, I actually don't want this.
Yeah.
That's like the only time I've ever actually quit stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I used to smoke weed like every day in like high school and like a few years after, and I started getting panic attacks, but like I didn't even realize it because I'm just so used to smoking weed like every day.
Yeah.
And then when you have that moment to be like, I actually don't like this. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Then it's almost like the first step for me, at least, that I'm gonna quit soon.
Yeah.
Like, because it's just gonna slowly separate myself from this. That I don't actually love this thing.
When I fucking find out something's terrible for me, I'm like, let's fucking do it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think there's just something in me that is just like self-destructive.
Yeah.
I have a deeply self-destructive nature.
Yeah.
Which it's taken me this long to like sort of get over it. Like I was talking about this with Austin, where it's like there is part of me that just wants to be a fucking degenerate alcoholic piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like I'll go on the subreddit crippling alcoholism.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on it?
No, but I can imagine it.
It's just people who are realize they're alcoholic pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Their lives are terrible, but they're just like, I'm not gonna stop. This is who I am.
I've romanticized being an alcoholic in my head, but I can't do it.
Have you ever been an alcoholic?
No, I like booze is the one thing that it just doesn't hit with me, because like in my head it would be nice to be like, oh, I just don't give a fuck, I'm just whatever, and then like I'll drink and I'll just get sad, you know?
Yeah,
like
not me. Every time I drink, I'm so happy.
Yeah,
because I think when you're talking about like spiritualities and I attempt to alleviate suffering, is I just think so much. Like I'm such a fucking deep thinker, which like sounds cool, but it's just usually a fucking pain in the ass. Like I'm just always fucking thinking, and so as soon as I drink, it's like it relieves the thoughts away. And then I get in touch with like the essence of whatever, and I just like I get so happy that I'm like, finally the fucking thoughts are gone. But
have you ever had like a regular meditation practice where you actually got better at achieving like the like letting thoughts pass by?
Yeah, I'll go in and out of it. Like I meditated today. Like I'll go through periods where I'm meditating every day, and you do get better at it for sure.
Yeah.
But even like fucking in Buddhism they talk about like that's still a sense of attachment of like trying to get to that state of meditative absorption where you don't have any thoughts, because like a lot of it is like, yeah, you should be like, these thoughts should be coming up so you can examine them and be like, oh, this is who I am, this is what I am, is all this just bullshit. And that's also part of it, is just like, so as soon as you sit down and meditate, you're meditating. You know, people go like, oh, I could just never not think. It's like, that's not what meditating is. It's just sitting there and actually being present with your thoughts until you just get to a point where like, I fucking went through it all, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I don't like therapy.
Yeah. There's too much shit going on, too much noise.
Well, I just don't agree with therapy, because I don't think most of it, it's just a very Western worldview where it's like, oh, you have these thoughts, you should have different thoughts. Have a different set of thoughts. And it's like, no, it's still thoughts. And fucking improving your life is still just attachment to a different sense of life.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like there's a point to that though. Like I've heard like if someone has like a drug addiction or something, like a really good way of them getting off is getting them like addicted to like exercise or something, because they're always going to be addicted to something. So you just flip the.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely gotten into like exercise addiction too, but never like full. I mean,
I've gotten full into exercise addiction for sure.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, you look it.
Yeah, thanks. Like one time I like went on like an extreme diet to just get as shredded as possible, and at the end it feels like self-destructive. It feels like it's very much like I feel like shit. I've only eaten like turkey today.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and also you get to the point where you're just like absolutely shredded. I've never gotten like absolutely shredded, but I've gotten to a point where I'm like, you know, people like, oh fucking, you got abs or whatever, and then you're like, okay, I'm here. I'm still just.
No, see, for me, when I was doing it, I just kept going to like the point where it's like I probably would have became like anorexic or something if I just didn't cut it off.
But do you know what I mean? Where it's like once you like reach your goal, like did you ever felt like, okay, I'm shredded enough?
No.
Oh.
I was just like, okay, now it's time to stop doing this.
Yeah. See, I sort of feel like where I'm at right now, I'm like, I could get more shredded, but for me, it's always been like in my relationship to other people, where it's like people will like me more if I'm shredded, and which is true. People do like you more when you're thinner. People react more positively to you just when you're more attractive in general, right? Which is like a lot of people who are overweight or have weight problems like get really like fucked up by that, where it's like, oh, you lose weight and people are nicer to you. And it's like, well, yeah, people are nicer to the people they want to fuck. Yeah, that's just life. And like every part of our like grooming and stuff is sort of tailored around that. Like there's a reason you shave and brush your teeth and to become more presentable. The more presentable you are, the more like aesthetic beauty you have, the more people will appreciate you.
Okay.
Which is like, you know, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I forget. I think it was like Nietzsche maybe, but or some fucking French asshole or something said like, if you crush a roach, you're a hero. If you crush a butterfly, you're a villain. Even like all ethics have an aesthetic value.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
But so you never read Camus?
No, I haven't read Camus.
I was just talking to. I think Camus, in terms of Western philosophy, Camus is.
Is he the Myth of Sisyphus guy?
He is the Myth of Sisyphus guy.
Is he also like The Stranger or something like that?
He also read The Stranger.
Okay, yeah. I've tried to read them both, and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
When I was younger, maybe I'll go back to it.
The Myth of Sisyphus is rough because like it opens with things like the only real problem you need to think about is should you kill yourself. That's the only question there is really. Should you? Why not?
Yeah.
But all those thinkers like Sartre and fucking Camus and just like the wave of existentialists. Although Camus said he was an absurdist, not an existentialist. He thought existentialism was dumb, but they basically arose as like their philosophy. A lot of it was a reaction to World War II and being like, well, how could God let this happen? Like fucking this shit was so horrible. Why would God do this?
That's a thing that I've realized is like people's religion or spirituality is you cannot separate it from the times that are in.
Yeah, 100%.
It's almost like a direct reaction to it sometimes.
Yeah. Which so much of that stuff was like existentialism was being like, well, obviously God's not real. Look at fucking the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And like so much philosophical arguments around God do come back to like, well, why did the fucking Holocaust happen?
Yeah.
But Camus, his whole thing was like, we just don't know. We don't know if there's God. We don't know if life has meaning. You can't know because how can you fucking know? You can't know. And so the only...
That's why I feel like I feel like the real religion is agnosticism. Is that just like, I don't know if there's a God? I feel like no one knows if there's a God.
Yeah. Well,
that's like the longest standing religion in my head.
Well, for me, because of just the experiences I've had, I'm like, obviously there's something more out there than just what we can experience through our, five senses.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like seeing through time or whatever. Just like, and the more I and I've had just different meditative experiences where I've just like experienced shit.
Yeah. So do you think like God or whatever is just that which you can't understand? Because you keep saying like there must be something out there because I don't understand this.
I think it's everything.
Okay.
I just think God is everything.
Okay,
that's my conception of God. But then I also believe in like spirits, which are like entities that are in a different vibration that we can't fully experience. It would like be like the way I think of it is just like humans thinking that we can fully understand reality is so dumb, because it's like you look at a chimp who like try to explain calculus to a chimp. Yeah. You just can't. And it's just like, we're not that much smarter than chimps, and so to think that our dumb little brains could fully grasp all of reality. And even when you look, it's like, well, look at our five senses, our 5 sense perceptions of the world. How could that fully, like, we know, like, we can only experience a very tiny spectrum of the light, right? And sound, all of this shit. We know there's all this shit that's happening and we can't experience it. Fucking crows, I've just read this, are actually rainbow colored. You know that?
Crows are rainbow colored?
Crows are rainbow colored, just it's outside of a spectrum of light that we can't see.
Okay.
And some animals can see them as like rainbow colored, and that's why they kind of look like greasy to us. Yeah, yeah. It's because it's the light shimmering, but they just appear black to us. Huh. And so like, spirits or whatever, angels it's just like entities that we can't fully experience. And I think like that we have like guides or like, and so I believe that life has meaning and purpose and all this stuff, but ultimately it's like, well, you can't ever really know. But so Camus, I agree in terms of Western philosophy, I agree with Camus the most, because Camus' whole thing was like, you can't know. And so, but you shouldn't kill yourself, because if you fully embrace just not fucking knowing, and I think this is where he sort of slips into like Buddhism a little bit, where without necessarily really realizing it, is like, because if you abandon all hope of meaning, all of that shit, then you're still just alive and it's sick, and it's like a way of sort of achieving no thought.
So do you agree with that? You think that's
I agree with him in one sense, but I do think like, I feel like I know that there's this other shit, just, spirits and all this other shit.
But do you feel like you should give up trying to understand that?
Well, no, because I do believe in like all the spiritual bullshit, right?
Okay.
And so
But you don't understand it.
I think I understand, like, I listen to
You think you understand like the parallel beings that are here with us, but we can't see them right now? You understand them, or you just think they exist?
I think they exist, and I think I've had contact with them and stuff.
That doesn't mean you understand them.
No, not fully understand it. But like, he's saying, he wouldn't even say like, oh yeah, you can, there's definitely spiritual beings and stuff. He's saying like, you can't fucking know anything. You can't know shit. You don't know if life is meaningful. You don't know anything. And so just embrace that, live your life in the absurd. And in that absurd, there is like a sense of freedom. And it's like, there's a joy from that, and an inherent joy. And every other philosopher who, like Kierkegaard, sort of had the same thing, whereas Kierkegaard was like, we can't understand reality. It's just too fucking confusing. And that's why you need to take a leap of faith towards God and believing in God. And then Sartre was like, life is meaningless, which again is fucking stupid. This is why I get so pissed off at atheists. Because it's like, how the fuck do you know? You don't know. The same way you don't know if there is God, you don't know that there isn't. And I feel like so many atheists think that they're taking the logical position of being like, well, you can't prove it. It's like, you can't prove it.
Yeah.
We both can't prove it. So you thinking, it's like, it's fine if you want to be an atheist and everything that leads me to believe there's no God, there's nothing. It's like, fine. But then to think that's a logical stance is just as irrational as saying, oh no, Jesus is definitely real.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I don't know the definition between atheism and agnosticism. I feel like
agnosticism is you just don't know. Atheism is like, definitely there's no God.
So they like, I don't know if the average atheist actually is like, I'm 100% confident I'm right. Do you think so?
I've met a lot of them.
Okay, I guess that's actually true. Yeah, I mean, I was like that as a kid, so I guess
because atheism, like, if you're not confident, then you're agnostic.
Okay, but even like the average like religious people have doubts. Like, so with like a Christian who's like, I believe in God, but I don't know about all the rules or whatever, is he like an agnostic Christian?
Yeah, I think to some extent.
Okay, all right.
Or if you're saying,
that's why I think everyone's agnostic.
I'm not.
You're not?
I fucking know.
You know? Okay. All right.
Well, I have beliefs that I'm like, these are for sure the beliefs.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard? This is like the craziest thing but this is only crazy because this guy's on YouTube. Yeah. There's this guy Daryl Anka, who is a channel for alien entity called Bashar. Okay.
He's a channel, like he's like a spiritual channel.
Spiritual channel. Yeah. For any channels, Bashar, which is a alien race, or he's a member of an alien race called the Asasani, and they are kind of like guides for humanity. And fucking listen to him, because like listen to like 5 hours of his shit, and you're just like, you're like
such an investment. Well, dude, just 5 hours of the channel of Bashar.
I listen to it every night when I go to sleep, just because it's like I just like listening to shit.
That's not a great idea. That's not a great idea to fall asleep to Bashar, dude.
No, because like basically what he's saying is like, all this stuff he's saying is just good shit, where it's like, even if it's full of shit, it's still, he's not being like, fucking sell all your money, move to, give us whatever. It's just like basically saying your state of being is the most important thing. Like if you want to like attract your reality, your state of being is the most important thing. And so don't like, because he does talk about law of attraction, people trying to get to the reality they want. And he's saying like the way to do that is through your vibration. And that makes sense to me, right? Like, and that's a lot of the law of attraction bullshit, is like, if you're in a good state, you do feel like your vibration is higher. And when I think of my life, every time I've been in a positive place, good things happen. Every time I've been in a negative place, bad things happen. I've never been like super negative and all of this good shit was happening to me,
Okay, I have. Like,
you?
I mean, like, I don't have like the most suffering in my life, whatever. But I've definitely been like in a negative headspace when obviously everything around me is good right now.
But like, there's good, but like, were you like getting new experiences that you wanted and stuff? Because it's like, yeah, we live in North America. Everything's basically good all the time, But it's like you'll just have less positive things happen to you.
I feel like you just don't give a mind. Like, good things are happening, you just don't pay attention.
Yeah.
It's like if you've ever been at like a party and you're like, oh, I don't want to be here, I'm all sad. Yeah. But it's a good thing that everyone's getting together. It's a good thing that people invite you out to the thing. It's a good,
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. But anyways, so what Bashar says is that we basically exist in a multiverse, and like we don't actually move through time. Basically, like we shift through billions of realities every second. Yeah. And so, and our state of consciousness is what guides us through those states of reality. Yeah. And so you can go to any reality you want basically through your consciousness. And so if you're like, that's what he's talking about, if you're obsessed with conspiracy theories, which I have gotten obsessed with conspiracy theories, because those are fucking real.
Okay.
Did you ever look into the WEF, dude?
The WAF?
WEF, World Economic Forum.
No. We don't need to get into it. Okay, the one like kind of crazy thought that I have no evidence for that I believe in is that time has just happened, that you just experience it in slides. The same thing you're talking about. Yeah. Like, I do very much feel like the past and the future is happening at the same time. Yeah. And it's just how I experience it is.
Yeah. Time's a flat circle.
Because you're only ever now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I 100%. I don't have any logic for that. Yeah. Besides, it just feels right.
Yeah. So what's your spiritual beliefs? Do you have any?
I'm like agnostic, but I spend in the last couple of years, I've like really dug deep into like actual like religious texts. Yeah. Like I've like read like the Bible, I've read the Quran, I've read like the segments, not the whole polycanon, but like large segments of the polycanon and stuff, like the Bhagavad Gita and all that stuff. Yeah. And just because like I spent so long as a kid, so like when I was like a young kid, I was Catholic and I believed in it, and there was a falling out with that whole thing. Yeah. And then I was kind of edgy atheist or whatever, but I would still have conversations about like, what, like with my friends, like, oh, what do you think is actually going on? All that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had my like hippie kind of LSD phase where it's like, oh, I know what's going on because I took mushrooms and I feel it and then whatever.
Yeah.
And then I moved through all these steps, and then like the last like little bit, I was like, I'm just kind of like nothing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't know, I just like returned to it because I started dating like a Christian too. I started dating like a Christian, and he's like gay guy, so he's Christian. So it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then he was like a different, and I hadn't like even like addressed Christianity in my life for so long. Mm-hmm. So it was almost like seeing him do stuff was kind of reminding me of like when I was a kid or whatever. Yeah. And I was kind of like, oh, I kind of forgot about this part, and like the way he does it is different than the way I do it or whatever, or I did it when I was a kid. Yeah. And then so then I got into, I like read like the Gospels again. I was like, this is not what I remembered. Yeah. And I would read other things, and I was like, and I just like kind of like reacquainted myself with it. And I almost for a second I was like, oh shit, am I returning to this? Is this going to be real? And then I just went back to the same thing before. Yeah. I'm kind of like the agnostic, like, oh, this is just kind of missing the point. Yeah. And then, but through that whole process, and this has been a few years, then I would go like, okay, so I read that, so I'm going to read the Quran. What do they say? I'm going to read the Gita. What do they say? And just the engagement with the text and like the thoughts that come up as you think about this, is bringing me to like more of like a spiritual state again, as opposed to just dismissing it all. Yeah. So without buying into the truths that they claim, just being part of the conversation almost. Like when I like read like the Bible or something, I see it as like I'm engaging in a conversation of like thousands of years of people just trying to figure it out. Yeah.
See, what I think with like all those religious texts and stuff is because of the time they were written, like the way humans conceived of themselves and reality was so different that us reading it now, it's like almost reading a different language, where it's like our thoughts, the way we conceived of ourselves and our position to God, our relationship to God, was so different that at the time the Bible, like when it was written, might have actually led people to this like, you know, new level of understanding. Yeah. But for us, because it's the way like our because I think people do go through, basically humanity goes through constant spiritual revolutions, which is just like a difference in the way we conceive ourselves as.
So I agree with that, and like how I've read the Bible now, and especially that's like supported if you like look into like the scholarship on it, is it obviously like it's not written at once. Yeah. It is written out throughout like a couple like thousand years. Yeah. Or like hundreds at least. Like it's debated, but like 1000 BC to like 500 BC or whatever, like 500 BC, like the Old Testament's like done. Yeah. And you can see the layers of how the world is changing and their relationship with what reality is. Yeah. Throughout the thing, and you can see like this part over here towards the end is in conflict with this part in the beginning. Yeah. And you can like almost like peel back like it's like onion layers. Yeah. Like in the beginning, for like the Bible, whatever, I'll get the Garden of Eden. Yeah. God's walking around. Yeah. He's a guy walking around. Yeah. And then he leads the Jews out of Egypt or whatever, and he's like a pillar of smoke leading them through the desert. Yeah. And then later on, he just becomes this thing that is in the world, but you can't see him at all. Yeah. And then he becomes outside of the world. So you can see like the development of it.
Yeah. I think a lot of that shit was aliens.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. I'm real into aliens. Yeah. As like, well, yeah, I just think like, I think humans are alien hybrids. Okay. Like different species came down. Just like when you look at fucking humans versus everything else on the planet, it's like, how did we get here?
When I was younger, I thought that too. I was like convinced that aliens like made humans like splicing monkeys or something, because it's like humans aren't comfortable anywhere. Yeah. You know, like monkeys will be like comfortable in the jungle, and they're perfectly adapted for it. Yeah. Anywhere humans live, they gotta change their living situation, their clothes, like their food. Yeah. They're never comfortable anywhere on Earth.
Yeah, we gotta change it constantly.
Yeah.
And when you just look at like how different we are to everything else, I think like humanity is, it's basically like an alien experiment kind of, where like, all right, let's
see what happens.
Let's see what happens. And like, have you ever looked into like UFOs and shit and all that stuff?
Yeah, but not seriously.
There's just so much like evidence, and like there's this documentary that came out recently where it's like military fucking U.S. government officials being like, yeah, aliens are fucking here. The fucking Pentagon was like, yeah, this is the craziest thing to me. The Pentagon was like, yeah, UFOs are here. We don't know what they are. They're doing maneuvers, like fucking right angle turns at 600 kilometers an hour, phasing in and out of existence. And everyone's like, crazy. Yeah. But again, it's like, well, what do? You know, it's like you still have to go to work.
Yeah. I feel like people don't really get moved unless they experience something. You can't just really hear about it.
Yeah.
And you have to experience it.
Yeah. And because like I was super, like I've seen this so often as, because I've been into like conspiracy theories and all this shit, it's like, even if something is proven, a definite fact, if you tell someone something about it, like the Phoenix Lights, you know, like we have so much footage of a fucking giant fucking UFO coming down over Phoenix. The fucking newscasters and stuff are like, yeah, fucking UFO. Yeah. What the fuck is this shit? But people go like, oh, well, I don't know, because if something creates cognitive dissonance in what people's conception of reality is, they just dismiss it because it's too. And I'm someone who doesn't. And so when I hear this shit, when I, you know, listen to this guy, he's like, yeah, I'm channeling alien consciousness. I'm like, all right, let's give it a shot. Let's see what he's saying. Does it make sense? And everything he's ever said, I'm like, he never slips up. I listen to so many YouTube videos of this dude, and he's always on point. But like the Epstein thing, because after the first time Epstein got arrested, and he got convicted of child sex trafficking, was hanging out with all these celebrities, fucking Bill Gates and shit. After he got convicted of sex trafficking minors, was still friends with all the most famous people in the world, got to serve out his sentence from his home during the Trump administration. The fucking attorney general gave him a sweetheart deal where it's like, oh, you're sex trafficking minors? You can just stay in your mansion for most of it. 8 months, whatever. And I was telling people about this. I was like, there is a billionaire sex island where fucking all the world's most famous celebrities and like, you know, politicians are having sex with fucking 15-year-olds. And people are like, you're insane. And I'm like, it's you can look it up. But people would go, no, you're crazy. And it's like, no, it's real though. The fucking government just admitted that they've been doing weather modification with fucking chemtrails. That's another thing where it's like, what? Like, and I looked that up like in the fucking there was like fucking government documents on like the U.S. government website where it's like, yeah, we experimented with weather control in the 60s. It works. We were doing it, but then we decided, we're not going to do it anymore. And it's like, really? You're not going to use this incredibly useful technology where you could basically cause a drought in other countries as a tool for warfare? And like, even when you look in like MK Ultra, you know, the fucking CIA using acid to like do all these mind experiments and seeing if they could like brainwash people, all this shit is like, yeah, this is real, it's happening, but it just confronts people's idea of what reality is, that they'll just go, I don't believe it, you know, like I don't want to believe that. Yeah. Until it's like they're really faced with it. Yeah. Until, because most people's beliefs come from social.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing where it's like people just can't take in too much at once. It's the same thing. It's like the reason, like when we're talking about, I can take it all. But you know, we're saying like we have 5 senses. We can't experience everything at once. We can't see the rainbow colors of a crow because it's beyond our percent. Like that's like everything. You just can't learn that the world is ran by pedophiles. You just can't. Yeah. It's too much at once.
It is too much at once. And I think that's what we're going through right now.
And do you think that's why time exists? That's why I always thought when I was in my LSD phase, is like
the pedophiles.
No, because pedophiles made time. Yeah, just make it stop.
Although when you look at it, it's like fucking. It's been pedophiles all throughout history. It's like this. It's like an ancient, like ritual.
You can say ancient art.
It's an ancient art. You know, but like
pedophiles control time.
Like I do
trying to make sure we don't age anymore.
Like I think something that fucks people up is not realizing that the worst of humanity has been running things for a very long time. Yeah. Because and it just makes sense. Like, you know, as soon as humans started gathering, it's like, who are the people who are going to rise to the top? It's going to be the narcissists, the sociopaths.
Because it's like bad to take. It's not bad to take. Bad and good, whatever. I'm just going to say bad so it's simple. It's like it's good to give, it's bad to take.
What do you mean?
Like acquiring stuff. Like if you want a bunch of money, you want a bunch of food, you want a bunch of land. Yeah. That like corrupts you, I feel.
Oh, for sure.
And so that's why they will lead.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Yeah, they want control. They want power. They want to maintain control and power.
So it's like the greedy people will always be the ones on top because they're motivated by that.
Yeah. And I think they do have like access to these fucking ancient forms of knowledge and shit.
Okay,
and
that's what's a little different.
Well, just like using certain rituals. Even when you look at the news, right? The news is just like nonstop negative.
Using
negative.
What rituals are you talking about that they use?
Well, just like sort of like subtle mind control shit, where it's like having the news just constantly pump out this negative vibration, and so people stay stuck in this negative vibration, and this negative vibration makes them easier to control and lead and shit. And if you look at what we get taught in schools, even the very nature of school itself is just like basically teaches people how to be a worker, right? It doesn't teach us how to be like fully realized people or to create a good society. It's just like fucking go here, learn math, leave.
Yeah, because I don't know if you can like teach that. Can you teach someone how to be a fully realized person?
I think we could do a lot better job than we are now.
True. Yeah.
If like even the stuff you learn like social studies, like when I was in the mental hospital, I was helping this girl with her social studies homework, and it was just like she was doing a unit on capitalism, and the entire unit was like, if you try anything else, your society will burn.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, crazy. I remember learning this shit,
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm in a weird place with capitalism where it's like, I do think that markets, especially at this point in spiritual evolution, is like, we do need markets. Because it's like someone's got to fucking shovel shit. And who's going to do it if you don't pay them?
Right.
But I think like the easy answer to solve all our problems is just social housing. Like have a program where it's like we have social housing, social food, socialized medicine, and then but it's like it's not sick. And so if you want to compete and like go and do because I think humans do have like a natural competitive urge, which is healthy. It's like if you want to fucking be a famous comedian, you want to do all this and this, it's like you still like, because I think like full socialism where it's just like everyone's equal, that sounds sort of like hell to me. Whereas like there's nothing to distinguish you just the government tells you what job you do all to create the socialist utopia. It sounds very horrible. But if it's like socialized housing where it's like you get a fucking 1-bedroom apartment and or whatever, you can live in a not great house, you're not gonna have a great car, you're not gonna have like the coolest shit, but you're not gonna fucking be on the streets. And I think if we just had that, the entire economy would restructure around that. Because right now, if you had that, most like every fast food worker would just quit their job, right? But then it would be like, well, we still need fast food workers. Okay, pay them more then. And then some people will fucking do it. Right now, it's like, if you don't want to be a fast food worker, okay, well, then be homeless,
Okay.
That's my answer to self-capitalism.
Yeah, okay. I know nothing about economics. I can't even say it. I can't even say the word properly. But, I don't know. Maybe that'll work.
Yeah. I started following this guy, Professor Jiang, for a bit. Yeah. Who's now a real professor.
Okay.
And he was getting really into like some deep conspiracy theory level shit where I was like, man, this guy fucking knows the truth.
I think this guy's popping up on my feed. I think.
Yeah, but then he was like, the moon landing wasn't real, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think this guy's full of shit now.
Yeah. Big moon guy. Yeah.
Well, just like for me, when you look at any conspiracy, like, because I look at conspiracies where it's like, I only believe the shit there's proof for. And there's a lot of fucking conspiracy, like the fucking WF and the Great Reset. That's a fucking document they put out. And if you say Great Reset, I've seen it so often when people's faces are like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's like, no, it's a book they made talking about what they want to do, which is basically merge governments and corporations using fucking ESG scores, which is DEI and then climate change initiatives to prove that corporations are benevolent and be like, oh, look, we're solving climate change and we hired a bunch of like minorities. So we have a high ESG score. That means you can trust us. All that shit is all bullshit. Fucking Carney is fully invested in Canada. That's all, so much that Canada's been doing has been all this fucking, globalist bullshit. And it's like, you can say it's conspiracy, but it's not. It's like there's evidence for it. They're saying that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's all these fucking documents and shit. And so but any conspiracy, it's like if you want me to believe your fucking conspiracy theory, what's the proof? Is it more likely that your proof is true? And it's like the fucking moon landing. It's like they brought rocks back. We can see the shit on the moon from where they landed. Like the Russians were like, yeah, they went to the moon. Why would the Russians do like the amount of people who would have to be lying is astronomical.
Yeah.
Fucking, and so it's just like it seems pretty obvious. But I mean, I don't know. I wasn't on the fucking moon.
Yeah. Sounds like you've been on the moon. What about the alien guy? Does he say anything about the moon? the channel of
Bashar?
Yeah.
He's never. I don't know, but he's very anti-conspiracy theory because he's like,
yeah.
Well, he's just like like one of his things is like the more you spend time focusing, he's like, yeah, of course, a lot of conspiracies are true, but what does that have to do with your life?
Yeah.
And so getting obsessed with conspiracy, like every time I've been obsessed with conspiracy theories and like Illuminati is fucking do it, I get in a super negative place. I spend so much time just looking at conspiracy theory bullshit, not taking positive steps in my own life.
So why don't you just stop looking at it? Why don't you just shave your head and fucking go out into the street? Oh, I guess so. Yeah, fuck, eh? Yeah.
Why don't I stop looking at it?
Why don't you just become like a, I don't know.
Well, I have mostly.
So yeah, you have?
Yeah, I mostly don't pay attention.
Okay, it sounds like it's still very much on the forefront of your mind.
Well, it's just because the government of Canada is so fucked. They're just stealing so much money from people to fucking give to these fucking programs that are not helping anybody. And it's just like, I just get so frustrated with Canada and people not seeing what they're doing, where it's like, we're spending so much money on these bullshit initiatives that there's no auditing, they're never proven to help anybody, all this money, like billions and billions of dollars, when fucking people can't afford food in this country, and you're giving it not even to help anyone. If you're just giving it to like fucking help Haiti or whatever, like, yeah, sure, but you're doing it on these bullshit initiatives that are just all these fucking this weird shit, and you're just taking money from people. And like Canada is like, I feel like Canada is like a fucking test ground for the Illuminati to be like, how far can we push people before they actually do something about it?
Yeah.
But I
do you think you're going to do something about it eventually?
No. No, I don't want to. Because that's like I still have control over my own life.
Yeah.
You know.
So then it's kind of like you're like I'm going to play armchair psychologist here. You're so engrossed in this stuff and you're so impassioned about it, but you admitted you're never going to do anything about it. Well, so why don't you just like not pay attention to it?
I agree. That is the healthy response. Yeah. Like to a certain extent, because I do think like
you can't just be ignorant and not help the world.
Yeah,
if you know
like I do believe in democracy and holding your government accountable, and that's the shit. Like the amount of fucking just outright criminal action that the federal government is doing, that the Supreme Court of Canada is like, you are doing crimes. Yeah. Like that was part of the reason they prorogued government, is because the $250 million green slush fund that liberal MPs were just giving them to themselves and their friends, and they've been caught doing this over and over, just stealing so much fucking money in ways that are just like, no, this is criminal behavior. You're supposed to hand over these documents to the RCMP, and no one in Canada knows about it because our fucking press is funded by the federal government.
Yeah.
And then you were not allowed to share news on social media in this country, which also seems like the reason they said it is because, like, oh, Google has to give us money to share news documents or, like, news articles. You have to pay, like, fucking Canadian you have to, like, pay the CBC or pay Canadian news sites if you want to share articles, not Google, on Facebook or social media. And so, but then that made it so you can't share news on fucking social media in Canada, and so we can't share fucking any articles about, like, you know, what's actually going on in this country. And so that shit does piss me off, and I do go back and forth between that, where it's like, should I even fucking bother caring about this at all? But then it's like, I don't know, especially when you look at our slide into like totalitarianism and authoritarianism, which is like, it happens all the time. The natural state of fucking human society is totalitarian. We've spent so much more time being authoritarian and totalitarian because the people in control always want the most control. And like democracy and freedom is always like, it's so rare historically that like I just think you do have to shit talk the government. And it makes me so mad because people shit talk their neighbors constantly. People are like, go, oh, you listen to Joe Rogan?
People shit talk the government all the time.
They do, but not enough.
Okay,
I don't think.
Okay.
Well, I just think like the amount that people like will criticize comedians or criticize, like, I get it all the time.
People criticize the government more than they criticize comedians. 1,000%. I've never been in like a break room at like a job and people have been like, these fucking comedians.
Yeah,
never happens.
That's true. Maybe not even comedian. It's just like when I've posted clips online just about stuff that's like so very tangentially related to politics, like jokes, and the people will get so mad at me and like just like shit talk, and then there'll be like fucking 400 comment threads about people arguing about politics, and it's like, if you guys just directed all of this energy to like writing your MP or some shit, you could actually change some shit. But people are so like the political sort of, and this is like an outdated term, but like cancel culture or whatever, which sort of started in like 2015, 2016, where people really started looking at like, you know, what everyone else was posting online and being like, you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't think this, you shouldn't, you know, like, you fucking like Jordan Peterson, you like Joe Rogan, you're a piece of shit or whatever. It's like, all that is like, people are so focused on the individual beliefs of citizens and not as much as what their government is actually doing. And it's like, the government is the one who's actually doing it. It doesn't matter what your fucking friend thinks. He might vote the wrong way, but it's still the government, and no matter who you're voting for, they're doing evil shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Do you think, okay, so like, yeah, you won't change the governments will control how the world goes. But on the other hand, do you not think it's more important what your buddy thinks? Because that's the world you actually like live in you live in Canada, obviously, and the government affects you every time, but like, what you think right now is a lot more affecting my life right now than what's... Actually, I don't even know if that's true. But, like, what can you actually have, like, control over? What is actually experienced in your day-to-day?
Well, I think, like, specifically what I'm talking about is what people... Like, when people get mad at other people's political beliefs. You know? Not necessarily like, oh, are you a racist? It's like that. You should say, like, yeah, you're being fucking racist or whatever. Yeah. But it's like, your political beliefs, because people will get mad at you for... It's like, oh, you support Trump. And it's like, okay, sure. But it's still Trump who's the problem. And like, especially these days, it's like, I don't get mad at anyone's political beliefs, because I'm like, the information ecosystem is so fucked that why would anyone be right about anything? That's my true belief, is like, the news, we all know, is fucking lying to us. We've seen that over and over again. And so what do you have? Fucking podcasters. A lot of them think they're telling the truth, but they're just wrong about everything. And then you have disinformation. There's bots. The fucking governments are hiring bots to put out disinformation. Fucking our government's doing it to try to control our thoughts. Other governments are fucking doing it to try to control our thoughts about our own government. You know, it's like, why would anyone be right at anything? So if you just focus...
You can't know anything.
You can't really...
Albert Camus.
Yeah. Well...
It's like accelerating in that direction, you know?
It is accelerating. But this is where I go back to Bashar, is he's like, don't focus on it. Focus on your life. And what do you want to happen in your life? Yeah. And because, like, ultimately, you do have, you know, control. I don't know. These new bills are the fucking... It's just like the fucking liberals in power. There's so much shit that's wrong with the country, and every bill that they're trying to pass is about suppressing speech.
It's so funny how you're constantly like...
I just hate
you
them.
talk about the government for so long, and
so
you're like,
much.
You can't control the government. You just got to focus on your life, and then instantly you'll talk about the government again. It's just, you can't bring yourself to focus on your life.
Well, it's because like we do have control, right? Like we can not vote these people in, and it's like, I get people don't want to vote for the conservatives, but it's like the fucking liberals. It's like everything that you're possibly afraid that the conservatives might do, the liberal. It's so insane that Carney fucking got elected, imposed an austerity budget that increases the deficit, and it committed to 5% military spending, which is 2.5 times higher than Canada's ever fucking spent in history, and people are still just like, fucking sick. Like, they just I don't understand this country. Yeah. I don't understand how people are okay with them. Yeah. I hate them so fucking much.
Maybe I'm willfully ignorant. I don't know. I don't I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm like a nerd. Jane Stanton was telling me about this podcast that my ex and this comedian Ari was on. Yeah. And so I was trying to look it up, and like the Google AI overview, it was like, so I just Googled their two names, and they're like, oh, these are these two comedians. And then the Google AI overview said that they also have a close relationship to a comedian, Levi McCatchin, who's known for getting riled up about social issues. There you go. And I was like, fucking Google, you got my ass. There you go. Because it's the way I was raised. Like, my dad, when we were kids, like 5, my dad would come home and be like, who's the enemy, kids? And we'd be like, the government. Like, he trained us to say that. Yeah. And so I absorbed my dad's anxiety, because he's fucking spent his time, like his life being involved in legal battles against the government, and knows how fucking crooked and fucking corrupt they are. And it's like every government is, but it's like I think it's part of my hatred from authority, which has to do with my childhood rejection of my father. Okay. And so I fucking hate authority. Yeah. And the liberals are just switching us further into fucking authoritarianism. And it just makes me so mad.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
That is your passion, though, I guess. It's like, I feel like that's in the core of your being.
It's not a healthy one. It's not, because it makes me so angry. Like, I have to actively detach from it. And like, and this is why I get so and so I'll detach from that and then get like obsessive about fucking stand up, which like I have a feeling like I know I want to make sketches and whatever. And I just know for me, like, I don't want to go the road of just like fucking working the road. And so it's like, I want to develop an online presence. And so then I get unhealthily obsessed with view counts.
Yeah.
And so it transfers from like getting mad at the government to being like, why did it only get 2,500 views? Because especially when you see, once you've had like a few videos get like fucking 500,000 views and you see how many followers that get.
Chase the dragon.
You're chasing the dragon, dude. You're chasing. And even it's like, then I have friends who are like, you know, they have like fucking, actually no, everyone I know who has 100,000 followers, they're making it as a full-time stand-up. Yeah. That's all I need. Okay. It's 100K followers.
What are you at now?
4,500.
That's pretty close. Yeah.
I mean, it's closer to zero than it is 100,000. But no, I've got ideas. I'm gonna get super into sketch, and it's just like the fucking. It's not even that hard to get that if you just do the shit the algorithm wants, which is like quick cuts.
Do you want to do that though? You're just like, you're just chasing another system, dude. Why don't you just see? That's my thing. This is probably the worst advice ever. Okay, but I just feel like you just gotta do something that you like in hopes that is an effort that is in service to other people. When it's your time, if you ever have a time, it'll line up.
This is what, honestly, I sort of feel like this is what the podcast is. Because it's like, we're doing like a fucking 2-hour conversation. I actually got to go right away. Like a very long conversation about and I feel like this would be helpful for people. Yeah. I know that a podcast isn't going to blow up in this. Like, I'm doing this to get better at podcasting, and then hopefully when I get, you know, notoriety or whatever from something else, then this will catch on. But like, and I enjoy this. I love doing this. I love having long conversations with comedians, and like, so this is like my sort of like the passion where I'm like fucking fully don't give a shit, whatever. I'm not trying to algorithmize it. I could make a podcast where I'm like fucking reading, you know, all those bullshit Reddit, like this, am I the asshole? All that shit where it's just like fucking internet bait. But for me, the way I see sketch and the way I see clips, it's like, it is, you know, the fucking algorithm. And I do feel like, you know, slightly bad about like trying to even put out content that would make anyone spend any more time online than they actually already are. But I find some online content, I really like it. I'm like, I watch it, it makes me laugh, and anything that makes me laugh, I'm like, you know what, worth it. Even though my phone is fucking psychic poison, worth it.
Yeah. Because that's good, man. It's just like, it's laughs. It's serving other people. It's a good thing.
And then
just focus on giving something valuable to people. You know, ignore the accumulation of power. I feel ignore the fucking governments. Ignore the money.
Well, if I'm not doing that, then I'm fucking working on making AI better.
Yeah, I guess
it's like I gotta
so.
Live. It's like you do have to run up against material needs.
I shouldn't say ignore, but you know.
For me, the whole like program making content that will do good algorithmically, it's not that complicated. It's just quick cuts, right? Just shit that will hold people's attention. And so how I see that is like, if you're famous, or if you want to be a famous comedian, like very few people ever make it just through stand-up. People who want to do it just through stand-up, it's like, that's never, it happened more in the past when there was an industry, but even then it was like, you would do stand-up, then get booked on a TV role, or you could do stand-up and then, you know, get a writing job for Saturday Night Live. And then on Saturday Night Live, it's not like you're fucking doing exactly what you want to do. You're going to have to do a bunch of bullshit that you don't want to do. And so I see it as like, it was trying to make content for the algorithm is just a writing exercise. Okay. And then if I can do that, then I can make more longer form content or make a movie, which is ultimately what I want to do. But it's like, this is an avenue that people take that's well tread to get more success. And then even if like you have 100,000 followers, then you can get more fucking people to do, I get, you know, more famous people to do the podcast. I fucking can, if I get, you know, fucking a famous comedian to do the podcast, then I can put, you know, one of my friends on who's not famous at all. That helps them, you know? Yeah. And it's all like, because ultimately I do what I want to give back so much, and I've always wanted this, is to Canadian comedians who, like, most people don't even realize how fucking far away we are from the actual media ecosystem here. Because of the fucking government, because they don't have any desire to actually make something that people watches. Like, Canada is the same size Korea. Korea is an entertainment fucking juggernaut because of the way the entertainment ecosystem is made. Here, I'm not even getting into it because I don't want to shit talk the people who might give me a job. Yeah. But we're just so far. It's so fucked. And so, like, I do want to help Canadian comedians, you know, because those are like my friends, those are people I care about. And so ultimately that's how I can like justify like, oh, if I can get famous, I can help other people, you know?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good way to live life, dude.
Yeah. All right.
Let's wrap it up.
Too. Yeah. You want to plug your socials?
At Maxwell Comic on Instagram.
All right. Sick. You have any closing thoughts for how to save the world?
Fucking render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, buddy.
That's perfect.